Okay, there's one Detroit Lions player that I think we're a little interested in, like, what's going on with this dude this year. And there's an interesting thing. So in this video, I want to keep that in perspective of just how good of a player he has been. And I'm going to do that by showing you how he made history. But first, make sure that you are following us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Sports Talk Detroit, go search for us. We started that just a few weeks ago. The more people we get on there, the more we're going to start tweeting, the more we're going to start kind of interacting. So make sure you follow us on there, and also leave a comment here. And of course, subscribe if you would. I'm sure I'll ask you a question or two as we go through this. So in the game, Detroit Lions defensive end Aiden Hutchinson made a little history. Kind of crazy, actually. He became the first player to log let me add that back. He logged 15 sacks and 4 interceptions through 2 career seasons. Sorry, my computer glitched on this side. 15 sacks, 4 picks. Okay. Thank you. Through 2 career seasons. The Lions are 8-2. They still have 7 games. So that means, and even if you give me it used to be 16 games. Great. So he did it 5 games faster, and he's the first player to ever do it. Now, I know the stats are this crazy world, and we're seeing all this kind of stuff, but at the same time, this is kind of impressive. It just shows that Aiden Hutchinson, and we've known this about him before, it just shows that he has a nose for the ball. All right. I'll let you see this cool graphic. All right. So he has a nose for the ball, but this year has been an up and down season. And interestingly enough, this season took a huge turn on one of those interceptions. It took a turn on one of those interceptions. It was week 5 versus Carolina. Now, Aiden Hutchinson's stats through the Carolina game are insane. He had 4 sacks in the first 5 games. It was technically 4.5. He had an additional 5 hits. And then he had an additional 4, 10, I'm counting here, 14, 19, 26 hurries. 26 hurries through the first 5 games, with 4.5 getting home for a sack and another 5 hits. So half of them, roughly, less than half, turned into hits. And then he had an interception. That was one of the best interceptions I've ever seen for a defensive lineman. He's charging upfield. He's absolutely charging upfield, puts his foot in the ground, turns, makes the pick, and then as he starts to run upfield, he gets hit straight in the hip. And he admitted a week or 2 later that hit jacked up his hip. All right. I know that's kind of an interesting thing to say. So when you look at the straight numbers from that moment, now we have 5 games leading up to that hit and then 5 games after that hit. All right. That's what it is. He now, in the following games, instead of 5 or 4.5 sacks, 1, and it was a very timely one against the Chicago Bears. Instead of 5 hurries, he still has 5 hits. All right. And he now has 1, 7, 9, 12, 17 pressures as compared to the 26. So he just flat out has not been getting to the quarterback at the same level. Okay. But you say, well, they've been focusing on him. They've been double teaming him. Teams have absolutely been going on Aiden Hutchinson. That's why I like things like PFF. His pass rush grade, first 5 games of the season, starting in Kansas City, 69, 71, 92, 80, 88. 92, 80, 88. Then he gets hit on that interception, 62, 65, 70, 69. And then this week finally gets into that 76 range. All right, his run defense, everything. There were 2 weeks against Tampa Bay and Baltimore where he had an overall grade of 59 and 56. That's not Aiden Hutchinson like at all. The 3 weeks leading up to that, 92, 80, 94. But here's the good news. After those 2 games, the last 3 games, 77, 79, 77. What that tells me is twofold. It tells me that Aiden Hutchinson is, number 1, getting healthier. All right, he's getting healthier. Number 2, he's learning how to play with teams that are teeing off against him. All right. He is learning how to do this. And he finally broke through at the perfect time against the Chicago Bears. The next step in the evolution that is Aiden Hutchinson is to be able to start beating double teams. All right. It's to be able to start beating double teams. And if you ever get a single team, all right, if you only have one blocker on you, you need to beat it. You need to beat it fast. All right. So this is one of these things. Aiden Hutchinson had a quote when he was in college, which was a very interesting quote. I'm going to tell you why. He had a quote that said, "Man, I'm basically a Bosa out here." All right. He was comparing himself to Nick and Joey Bosa, who, as you know, are very good, especially the one in San Francisco. All right. That would be Joey, I believe. So Joey Bosa in San Francisco, he is the bar right now for defensive edge rushers as far as pure good, solid pass rushers. I know you can make an argument for TJ Watt. You have other people that you can make an argument for. But he said he was basically a Bosa. First off, really weird coming from a guy while at U of M talking about 2 brothers that played at Ohio State. All right. I think that was very, very interesting and very unique. But he said that. So if he wants to be a Bosa, the difference between Hutch and the Bosas is the bend. Now, Hutchinson showed it in year 1. And he definitely showed it in the first 5 games this season. But since that hip injury, he's been a little stiffer. There are times where he was running off the field and there were actually announcers making fun, like, man, I hope he's hurt. Why is he running like that? Because he can barely get off the field. Homeboy was hurt. All right. So that is what we know. But the next step in the evolution for him is, I'm going to beat that single team. In fact, there are teams. I noticed this when watching the 49ers. Romo was the announcer, like him or hate him. He has some good insight. They have what is called the non-Bosa package. In other words, whenever Joey Bosa gets subbed out of the game, they're throwing it deep. All right. They have longer developing plays. You can't do that as much anymore because they've gone out and gotten Chase Young. They've gone out and just, their defensive line is absolute insanity. So yes, they have all these things. They have figured it out. But Hutchinson needs to affect the game in that way. Like, we know that is what we want him to be, elite. If he's never going to be that, start looking for us to get another edge rusher on the other side and to beat the single teams. That's when Hutchinson went off at Michigan, when Kwity Paye was on the other side and he was able to not get double teamed consistently. And whoever you didn't double team was getting a sack. It's kind of that simple. All right. Thanks for watching. I thought this was kind of cool that he made history so fast. Let me know if you feel the same. And thanks for watching. See you on the next one.